Hello everyone. I hope you guys are well and had a great day. Welcome to our session today. Yes, I was reflecting on our yesterday's discussion, and a couple of things came up in our discussion yesterday, which I did not plan to really talk about, but I think we should talk about those things because, as you guys pointed out, they are very important things. Couple of things. So let's start with, and I would want your active participation in that. So please support my initiative to talk about these things. Uh, and we are just sharing ideas what are our understanding about these things. So please make comments and so on. Yeah, so one thing which was mentioned in yesterday's session, and I think it is very important, that's why we want to talk about it, is project management. Yeah, project management, one of our friends mentioned project management is very essential in generally in businesses, and especially in international trade, the way we have been discussing. Indeed, project management is something which it would be very bad if we end our engagement without even talking about it, even if it is for a brief moment. So project management, yeah. So please guide the discussion that in project management, when you are managing projects, what are some of the things which are very important, and what are some of the things which maybe people forget about considering in when they are managing projects. What happens in a project, like you are when you have a project, what are some of the things you should keep in mind, and generally what has been your observation that when projects fail, when they fail, what are the things which companies or people or individuals have not thought about? What are some of the best practices which we should keep in mind? Because think about it, no matter what area we are discussing in international trade, because it is very big, it will be divided into various chunks, various portions, and they would be projects. People would be leading projects. So people who are leading projects, what are the things they should keep in mind? People who are in the teamwork, you can talk about teamwork, because project, of course, if it is one man show, it is different. When more people are involved, it is totally different. So any insight you can give on project management, and link it with maybe international trade if you can, but if you cannot do that, that is even fine. So basic simple question: project management, what are the things we should keep in mind? What are the blunders, mistakes people make in project management? What can be the fall of that? Anything of these lines is going to really benefit us. Have a little understanding of project management, and based on your experience, also you can also share some experience of some project which you are managing or you are part of, and maybe something happened which was good and it helped in the project, in the execution, in the results which you are getting. Maybe it is that, or maybe there were some things which were done in a wrong way, and that what was the fallout of that? What happened? Project failed, and what was the ripple effect on various things, on people morale, on reputation, on brand, anything you can talk about it. And it does not have to be work related projects. We are dealing with all different types of projects in our life all the time. This is a project for you. If you want to reach to the session on time at 5 or whatever the time is there on your side, this is a project for you. So you are managing your day to reach this objective, whatever you have to do. And maybe you would want to look ahead, what are the things we would discuss. Maybe you would want to read on it, but this is a project. In school, these are projects. In your family, in your personal private life, there are so many projects. So any insight we can get, and at the end of the discussion, we want to have some key tangible principles which can help us to manage projects in business environments and so on. But any example would be good. So I was just warming up you guys. So So I hope you will really participate in today's discussion, this topic, and all the way till we end. So please support the discussions today. Very important. And don't worry about the marks. It is not about the marks at all. Yeah, it's not about that. It is just engage with the material. You will be fine. I've told you multiple times now. So yes, please go ahead. Yes, please.
I think I'm the first in line. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ashraf, please go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, so thinking about a project, I think the first thing we should start with is setting up goals and objectives. And then we can choose some milestones on our way to the finish line. And those milestones should be like small steps or small goals. Whenever we reach them, we can just like feel sense of accomplishment. And then we have to, I think the most crucial part is the deadlines. Without deadlines, you can't accomplish a successful project. That is what was the first thing that comes to my mind thinking about a project.
Thanks very much, Ashraf. Great points are made here. So first thing, what is the goal? What is the objective? What are we trying to achieve from that? That should be very clear in the mind of the leader, yes, and in the mind of other people also. Because one can think, so whatever is my objective, just like I gave you a little brief that this is what I am trying to achieve. This is my agenda. So please participate in project management discussion. And now I try to communicate in a but I did not have a lot of time. I have to do it in 2 3 4 minutes, whatever, and now you have to pick up from that, and then we will. So this type of communication, again, very important in this goal, objective, milestones they are talking about. Milestones, yes. So milestones, small milestones, uh, small steps, and then this thing, small steps, small goals, and then you are trying to celebrate those. You are trying to celebrate those goals also, as Ashraf is maybe trying to highlight that point, that the end result which you want to achieve from the project, that will happen when it has to happen. That might take some time, yeah, but there are, as you are doing, like for example, we reach our whatever we want to do in first day, then second day, then third day, whatever we wanted. So we should celebrate that also. But in that celebration, the end goal should not be lost. So as you are making some progress, give yourself tap on your shoulders and say, well done, well done, but keep an eye on the goal. And with the goal, sometimes in the projects, you when you are some success, you keep on adding things to your projects. Okay, I'm doing this, and let me add this also to my objective. Let me add this also to my objective. That is maybe not a very good practice, but it depends on the project. On the other hand, sometimes when people start off something, they have big agenda, big goals, but as they go into the system, they start thinking, maybe this is not going to happen. So maybe reduce my goal, maybe reduce my ambition, what I'm trying to achieve. That is also not a good idea, because think about it, if you whenever you are going to start something, and if it is worth giving a try, if it is big enough, if it is something really worth it, it is going to bring a lot of challenges, especially if it is new for you. The challenges will be so many. So when you will see the challenge, you might drop your ambition. You might tell yourself, this is not possible, this is not going to happen. Don't do that just because of failing. If you fail in the first initial parts of the projects, don't just bring your ambition down because you are not making it. Try to understand that this is a new thing for you. It takes time to develop and hone skills. So failure should not be something with which you bring your ambition down, uh, uh, and so on. Yes, but let's continue the discussion. Another point was the deadlines. Yes, of course, you should be able to relate it from daily life. When we have some project, some assignment, even at school, you have some assignment, and you know that it is due after 1 month. So are you really going to start working from today and keep on improving it in all the month? Maybe you will, but generally speaking, people don't do that. They procrastination is a real issue across the world, across countries, especially things which we are not really keen, and coursework and these type of things, they are generally not fun and people are not enjoying it. So why bother with that? So they would just do it in the last last few days. But if they have a tight deadline, then of course, just like for this, because this is just 1 week long engagement, you have tight deadlines, assignments are due shortly. So you guys have already, most of you have already submitted and gotten your grades and stuff like that, because the timeline is of such nature. On the other hand, if the time was way far, then you would maybe maybe you would relax a little bit. So but then again, deadline should not be so tight that people's morale is gone down. Yeah, so as a manager, as a leader, you would have to think about those things also, like people don't you want to engage them, but you also give them support, like just like I say, participate and this, and there are score for that, but I'm also telling you that this is, don't worry about those things, I will deal with that. So do what you can. So both things, the mix and match is there, because if the morale is gone down, uh, just the leader alone cannot do things. So these are very good pointers our friend has made. Excellent. So think about these things and continue the discussion. Next one, please. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned it already. Communication is key, and I would like to emphasize that it's really important that in projects you always have to rely on others, and therefore you should clarify your expectations towards others. I think this is a very important point to make progress, and during the progress, it's also very important that you use the right tools so that everyone can see, okay, where we are right now in the project. So no one is doing double the work. You can use Gantt charts, you can use apps like Slack or Google Docs. So everyone is seeing what's going on and what do I really have to do. Where are still gaps that we have to fill.
Thanks for this, Ben. We missed your voice yesterday, so I really appreciate you are back in action today. So he's talking about these simple tools, but they might be very simple, but they are very important tools. Slack, Google Doc, and these type of things. No one double ups the work. I am doing something, and you are also working on that thing. This is what is that? You are wasting time. You are wasting the energy. All those things are communication. He's emphasizing on that communication. So with communication, can it be the case where you can over communicate? Even if there is a case where you can over communicate, let it be over communication than less communication. It is fine, based on my understanding. You can develop your own point on that. So that how much should be the communication? Based on my experience, my observation, I think that over communication is is better than 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 less communication. Although it should be at the right level. It should not be too much and too little. But if it is the case that you have sent out the communication and you think that it is fine, but still you have some doubt that maybe it is not fine. If you having that feeling that if I communicate again, will it be over communication? Don't worry about it. Over communicate, no problem. But if you will under communicate, then definitely there will be problem. If you over communicate, what will people say? People will say, oh, this person talks too much. He has told us, he's telling us again and again, that type of thing. Yeah, so no problem. That is fine. That is fine. uh, to me, based on my personality and how I think. But if you are under communicating, then what would be the risk? Then it is a bigger risk. People are not clear. You are jeopardizing the success of the project. So think about it. One friend was talking about risk management, for example. Yeah, so this is a risk: over communicating versus less communication. Yeah, so we're going to talk about risk management also, but let's continue with project management. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so for me, it's important to. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Please go ahead, Olivia.
Yeah. So for me, it's important before you start a project, you need to check if it's profitable in the end. So you have to look at the costs and the profit in the end, and then you can decide if you take the project or not, because maybe in the end you have much more costs than the profit will be. So it won't be
Great.
good for your company.
Yeah, great point. And think about profit is not just the money profit. Yeah, remember that. It's not just money. Many times in international trade, you would do things which are maybe not going to give you monetary value right away, but it will improve your, improve your people's perception about you. It will improve the value of the, maybe you will create some other type of value for your stakeholders. So yes, you have to think about what you are going to gain, but then again, it is different for different people. Some people are happy with recognition. If you recognize them, if I say, oh yes, Olivia, what a beautiful point. This is very good. Yeah. See how Olivia will feel. What do you think? She's going to feel good because she said something and it was encouraged. What will this do? This will increase her confidence. Next time when she's going to speak, she will speak in a different way. Think about if you guys, some of from you guys also, appreciating Olivia or anyone, whatever. I'm just taking one name. So anyone you say, oh, very good point. You made very good point, and so on. What it does? Am I giving them euro, or am I giving them US dollars, or what am I? Am giving them any finance? No. Simple words can really increase the morale of the people. On the other hand, if the next speaker who is going to whatever they are going to say and uh, think that I don't agree with them, uh, um, and I'm sure you guys know that I don't agree with all the points with all the friends make in the session, and I'm sure you also don't agree with all the points which I make or other friends make, and that is fine also. But we don't tell each other. We don't tell each other, oh, what a bad idea you have mentioned. This is such a foolish idea. We don't do that. Why do we don't do that? Because let's say that someone says something and maybe it is not a good idea, and we tell them it is not a good idea. Will they ever speak again with you? Like speak again in the sense that you will ask for ideas. Will they be very open to you again, or they might start thinking, oh, last time when I gave the idea it was not celebrated, so let me not say anything. What would that do? It will impact the culture. It is not just one person, it is you are telling whole group. So if I tell one person that their idea is not good, I'm not telling to that one person, I'm telling all of you. All of you will be careful. So in the project management, think about that. So how are you going to, in the project you are asking for ideas, and some people make ideas which you don't like. How are you going to communicate to them? How you are going to tell them that maybe this idea is not right? Choice of words. Remember our discussion on negotiation. Yeah, so these are very important. Your one, especially from the coming from, if you are managing the thing, once your body language, your couple of lines you gone wrong, people misunderstand you. And then especially think about cross cultural teams working on projects. Yeah, think about that. Think about people working in different time zones. Think about that. Think about where projects, they will never meet in person. They will always meet through the lens, just like I am meeting you guys. Think about that. So all these are very big issues in project management. Yes, please go ahead.
So a project has normally a leader, and as a leader, you have to clarify clear project rules and responsibilities. And yeah, you should make sure that your team members grow with their task, feel comfortable in their environment, so they can admit mistakes, they can talk about their ideas, their creativity, and ask questions. And you should help them grow, but you as a leader need to grow as well. So you have to look for opportunities to grow, so you can gain positive influence and set a solid foundation of trust among your team. And yeah.
very deep, very profound. I really like this line that Pauline is saying, that you have to grow your team and you have to grow yourself also. So think about the role of a captain. The person who is the captain, he not only he's spending time his team, guiding them, and that is going to take a substantial amount of time and energy if you really want to do that. And depending on the size of the team, size of the people you are managing, that is really going to take time and effort. And then you have to find time for yourself to read also and reflect also. uh, Otherwise, what would you have to add? You won't have to add anything. You have to tell them things which maybe they have, but they don't have not read yet, or they have not, so that would keep them interested. So growth mindset, you have to do that. And this line, our friend used this line, that the team members, they able to admit their mistakes. Admit what happens when people admit their mistakes. Reflect in your own life. When someone make a mistake, what happens? What has been the culture of in your home? In your home, that is a good question to reflect on. You don't have to answer, don't answer it, just reflect. So just reflect on this, that when you are growing up, uh, what was the what was the culture of your home on doing things, like when you would break a glass or break something or anything like these. Children do those type of things by mistake, or anything, little mistakes like that. How would your elders, your parents react to that? uh, that is a very good, that is where you are learning all those things. And that is you remember that discussion about unconsciousness and conscious habits. And in this, and in the earlier part of the of our engagement. So think about a child who, when he broke something, and of course a child will tell in the first instances, first days of his looking around the world, he will say, yes, I broke it. So if he get a slap on the face, or he's shouted at, or he's told that why did you do it, and this and that and that and that and that, next time when he breaks the glass, and he's going to break a couple of glasses or something like that. Just anything, whatever happens, children do, depending on your brought up. uh, uh, because I broke a glass when I was a child, so that is why I will share the story shortly with you guys. So whatever mistake, how do people react, or anything bad you do, how what do they do they, so if you did not lie, if you tell the truth and it was not received well, are you going to tell the truth again? uh, if you are smart, you will not, and you guys are smart, why you would want to be scolded again? You will say, let me just say I did not do it. Yeah. So when I was growing up, there was an incident, something like that. I I broke something very very expensive uh, in one of our relatives house. And I got really scared, of course, because it was very expensive, and it was new and shiny and all. This was a uh, big decoration was on the entrance, very huge, but it was very delicate, and that type of thing. So I, by mistake, I just slipped on it, and at the time when I broke it, I was alone. Yeah, so now I'm really scared, and I'm thinking what is going to happen and all those type of things. And then eventually someone came out and they saw me, and I was reported to the owner, our relative who owned that thing, whatever it was. And they said that, first of all, initially, of course, they were not happy to see that. But uh, then people told me in my family that, because I was really scared and whatever, and I was like in the mood of saying that I did not do it, although it was obvious that I am the one who did it. And it could have been the reason because I was at that age where I should not have done that. I should have been more careful. I was a child, but not a child. Yeah. So I really thought that I'm going to get some real something. So, but but the things they told me that time, a couple of lines, they really, helped groom my personality. They said, don't worry about it, you did not do it by uh, by by mistake, and if anything like that you do in life, and something like that happen, always be truthful, and tell us that this has happened, no problem. But although it was a problem, it was expensive and all those things, so um, uh, all those type of things, what it was a problem, but that is the message they gave. And then something else happened in my life, couple of things, 2 3 events like that, like these type of events happened in my life early on, and where where I did something and people around me were upset about it, but they told me that being truthful, being honest, being this type of is better. I'm not saying that I don't lie. I'm not saying that at all. All of us do, in one way or another. But generally speaking, that groomed my personality to be like, I would not generally lie. Yeah, so that type of thing. But whatever happens at work, in school, in university, at home, whatever. Generally speaking, and my family is okay with that. But I have seen other friends, and other people I've seen. I know them. We are personally, if they tell the truth, they get the consequence is not good for them. So then this is going to groom the personality. Same way in the project management. If someone is going to fail, how you are going to deal with that failure? Yeah, of course, yeah, think about a failure. Is it a real failure? Like they tried and they did all the things and risk management and all the things, and then something happened which is out of their control, and then that thing happened. And so if they failed, might want to give them a chance. Uh, uh, because if you don't give, when people fail and you kick them out, then you are going to kick everyone out from your life, because everyone is going to make mistake, no matter who they are. In your private personal life, you are managing a team, you are in a group work, in assignment at school, you are at work, you work in the best company in the world, it does not matter. Do we think that people in the best company, who are the most talented, they don't make mistake? Forget about it. Just run a Google search. You will know they make mistakes, and their mistakes are very big, because the projects they are working on is a millions of dollars projects, because they are big. So when they make mistake, they make big mistakes. Remember, I directed you to watch that video clip from from yesterday's discussion. Gillette, as you are very well aware, very big company. If you have not watched that clip, watch that clip and ask yourself how those smart people from top universities in the world, with best experiences, best environments, best paychecks, how could they make those blunders? People are going to make mistakes. So you have to really think about it, how you're going to deal with failures. Uh, but having said that, there are some type of leadership which don't take any type of nonsense, and that is fine also. So people who are very clever and very intelligent, and they want everything on the spot, and everything, you make any mistake uh, around them, they are going to just let you go, because they don't have time and energy to spend their energy on you and tell you to do it like this. And they think that this much is basic thing, you should know it on your own. So for example, Steve Jobs, look at the way he honorable Steve Jobs, look at how he was managing people. He was very short tempered. He's very successful, but people don't know how his personality was. uh, yes, he was very accommodating, but then he would let go people also very easily. He would not care who is the person and whatnot, depending on the mistake and how he looks at it. Yeah. So think about these things. Very interesting. Yes, please, next one.
Okay, so I also want to speak about roles in project management. So I think at the beginning of project management, it's really important to identify which roles are relevant or necessary for the project. And then you can assign different roles. We are also doing a project in another course, and there we assigned at the beginning, for example, the role of head of project, head of communication, head of interview, and then you have like a person who is responsible for a specific task, and then you know who you can contact in case of any questions. Yeah, so I think this is also a really important point for project management.
Yes, keep going, please.
Okay, sorry. So I think what is also important for project management is that you have a time schedule with specific deadlines, so that you have your total goal in mind, but with this total goal, you kind of create some work packages and milestones, and for every work package you have kind of a deadline, and you have to find out if those work packages are depending on each other, so if one has to end before the other one can start. So this is really important to have this in mind and to clear this at the beginning of the project.
Very good.
Yes, so I also think that motivation is a key in project management. So you need to be able to motivate your employees, but also I feel like self-motivation is very important too, and you need to keep everyone kind of on the same page. And for that, I think you need a vision that you set as a leader and that you have everyone follow. And I think that's a very important.
Very good. They're all good points, roles, motivation, and all these things. But if you guys can give some examples where you were part of some project management, what happened, it worked, what did not work, those type of tangible examples can maybe help the all of us a little bit better. But go ahead, whatever you have to say. Next one.
So aspect that it is important to pay attention to different warning signs. So if the project manager is not able to perceive warning signs like missing financial resources, as we talked about earlier, or like a lack of communication, then the project will fail. And on the other hand, if you have a project manager who is very proactive and takes different necessary actions that saves the project from failure, the team could lead to these failures due to lack of commitment or missed deadlines or something like that. So it is important to look at the warning signs from both sides. So not only the project manager, but also the team members.
Yeah, thanks for this, and try to link this point with the yesterday's discussion where we were talking about being a proactive and reactive leadership approaches in international trade. So from this point, maybe we can take that project management is not something where you finalize your step 1, 2, 3, 4 and just forget about it and just let it go. It's where you have to be very engaged because of the dynamic nature of various projects, especially in international trade, having an eye on various steps. And this point is early warning sign. That is extremely important because you should have the eye which is going to catch those early warning signs. Because when the thing is going to go wrong, everyone will know. Everyone will know. Your job as a project lead or even a good participant of any project, your thing is to observe something which is maybe going a little off and bring it to the attention of in a nice way, or not trying to backbite anyone or bring down the leader or anything. In a very nice way, you can see what is happening with that. So early warning sign, yes, that is important. Next one, please. Please keep it going, guys. We have a very tight agenda.
Well, okay. I'm the second one, but if Vera, are you there?
Please
If
go
you
ahead.
want to say something, you can. But okay. So seems like she has connection problems. Well, I actually did an internship in project management, and what I learned in like a really big company, and if it's like a really big project, you most of the time you work together with other companies and like external partners, and it's so important that you have partners that you can actually rely on, first of all, because otherwise, you're not going to meet your cost targets, you're not going to meet your time targets, and so on. And next thing is, as part of like a project or like project management, you often have to act as the mediator. So there are, many parties involved, and of course there arise conflicts between those parties, and you often have to like, communicate solutions between them and so on. So that's like, like I wasn't actually. Yes, I also had a task in that project management, to do like to reach like a specific goal, but the soft skills in that were so important because there are just so many parties that wanted different things and everything. So yeah, that's really important.
And pay attention, guys, to this point which our friend made. Reliability with the other part on the with the other parties. Reliability. International trade, very important, this part, reliability, because if they have everything but they are not reliable, then international trade is not going to happen. Other things can happen, very good things can happen, uh, but international trade cannot happen because reliability is not there. So you have to think about that. Conflict resolution, we touched it on in the negotiation session when we were talking about that. So this is very big part, because in the project, when you will have your own idea, other people will have their own idea, then and everyone would be like almost equal level. So which idea to take? There's a conflict. So as a team, you need to resolve that conflict. So these techniques are generally in life very important, and in international trade they just become even more important. These are general principles from life. Even if you are not going to go in international trade, you should be good in conflict resolution. You should be someone who can create reliability. You should be someone who can negotiate well, persuade people, good public speaking skills. These things are generally important in life, but in international trade and project management they just become a little bit more important. Next one, please.
Vera, do you still want to say something, or is your connection better?
Yeah, I think you could not hear me a few minutes ago.
No.
So I'm not sure what Bibi told you, what she came up with, but actually my point was about conflict management. So I don't know, did Bibi already told about that, or?
She did on your behalf.
Okay. Well then, yeah, I just wanted to add that yeah, so I can come up with my personal experience
Go
also
ahead,
during
please go ahead. Please go
during
ahead.
my exchange semester.
Yes.
And I noticed that, yeah, like conflict management really differs in different cultures. So when I was in a university project, like I realized that many of my fellow students were kind of shy to come up with critique. And for me as a German, it was kind of normal to, yeah, directly say it in front of them. So yeah, I think like conflict management is really important, and especially for leaders, they have to know how to deal with it properly.
Yeah, thanks for this, Veera. And this is interesting point, because coming from different countries, you might be coming from a country where it is where you just say whatever is in your mind directly, and you just move on with that. But if people coming from other countries, they might they might not like it, or that's so. These are some things you might want to consider in the project. But remember the in the earlier part, as Ashraf mentioned, he was saying that deadlines. You have to now think about this. You have to do all these things, and you have to manage deadlines. There is no excuse that you could not complete the task what you wanted to do at the end of the day, whatever target you set for for yourself. You have to meet the deadline also. At the end of the day, you can't extend it too much, because the more you are going to extend it, it might require more resources, it might require more money, it might require more people from the team members, and maybe that team member is only engaged for that period in time, and they have to maybe start working on some other project. So you have to, there are so many things you have to look into project management. Very nice. Next one, please.
Yes, in terms of project management, I think that flexibility is very crucial. So you need to be able to plan ahead for changes and add time and cost buffers for unexpected events or situations.
Yes, unexpected events and situation, factoring in the time. So when you are working with all those diagrams and pictures and schedules, as Ben was mentioning, you have to keep something for the unexpected events also. But then this flexibility thing, you have to now think about it. Do you want to be flexible in the project management, or you want to be, like, how much flexible you want to be? That is the question. Because if you are too flexible, then you know then there can be a problem, but then you have to show some type of flexibility. So at the end of the day, it will go back to that point, that goal and objective. What are you trying to achieve at the end of the day? So to achieve your target objective, if you have to show some flexibility and it does not put the goal and goal or objective, then maybe you would want to go ahead with that. No problem. Don't make it a ego problem, that I have said this, so it is going to be like that. No, sir. It is not like that. Especially when you are working with smart people, it cannot be like that. Because if you do it that way, they are going to go somewhere else, because they are smart. They have more options. Yeah. So think about these things. Very interesting. Next one, please.
So if you do a project management, you also need participants, and I think it's important that every
Timothy, you will have to speak louder. We can't hear you at all. Please come closer to the microphone and then shout a little bit.
Okay. So if you have a team for your project, every team member has to have a special role, and you should put every member in a role which is suitable for him. So if you have one who is a specialist in a subject, you might give him a specific task related to his expertise and not let him do something else. Or the one who keeps the team together, the real team player, and he should link everyone and just communicate with the others. So give them the task they're good at.
Great point. Timothy, is this the first time you made any comment in the class, Timothy?
No, at the beginning on the first lesson I made some comments.
On the first lesson. So that's why I've been missing you all these days. I was thinking where you are gone. So please, going forward, you should say something every day, maybe. Maybe one line or two line. But thanks for this good contribution, Timothy. Thanks for that. Next one, please.
I was with my mom. I didn't hear the last 5 minutes. So could you just repeat the questions, please?
Anyone can repeat the question, what we are trying to do?
We talk about project management and share our experiences, and talk about what is really important for project management.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay, thank you. So my contribution would be to distribute the tasks fair and also take into account the personal strength of every team member. So from my experience, we have a really good project team in one of our other classes, and this one person that's really good with numbers is doing all the calculation, other person that's creative is doing the design of the product, and one person that's really detail oriented proofreads the text that we've written, and that worked really well. and everyone is really good. So in the end, you get a really good product. So I think ideally in the first team meeting or so, you should really reflect on like what the strength of every person is, and then you can get the best outcome.
Yeah, very interesting point, friends. And I would like to add that yes, strengths, and that is you keep that, and add one more thing to this. So you look at what are the strength of the people. Also look at please that what are they interested in, what they want to do, what where they have the initiative. So maybe it can be some area where you see that they don't have a lot of strength in that. They are okay, average, but they have a lot of interest, passion, drive to be part of that area. So let them do that. Let them do that because competency is important, strength is important, but interest, drive, passion, that is even more important. Uh, who who do you want? Do you want someone who is very talented and educated and all of those things, but not very interested? Or do you want that a person who is reasonably educated and is reasonably on the other things, but he is very interested, very interested? Yeah. So who do you want? Yeah. So think about that. Look, sometimes in my own, I'm saying this from my own experience. For example, I'm interested in some project, and then people will say, oh, you still have to complete your PhD and whatever, and then you can have that project maybe. By the time I complete my PhD, I might not be interested. That is a big possibility. We don't keep interested in the same thing. uh, so think about these things, but again, not taking anything away from what Fran said. She's absolutely right in saying that strength, you play from your strength. In international trade particularly, you have to focus on where your strength is. Another friend yesterday mentioned about comparative advantage, absolute advantage, relative advantage, those type of things. So you have to come with your strength, because then you can dedicate the other things to other people. So absolutely right, but keep an eye on the interest also, because I think that interest is very important. And many times we are looking at the resumes and we are looking at the achievements and those things. In that, we can't really maybe know what is the interest level in going forward. But think about that. Next one.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add that it is also important to always have a look on possible risks and to think about how to manage them. And so one always should include or even think about a plan B, and also create a communication strategy to keep all stakeholders up to date.
Very good, Vanessa. We are going to talk about risk management after we are done with this discussion. So would
Nice.
like you to contribute in that, and take guidance from you that how should we manage risk and all those type of things which you mentioned. So guys, you can start thinking about that also. We will talk about that. Yes, next one.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, because we talked about leaders and they have to assign tasks earlier. I just wanted to claim that you also have to take into account that you have to ask for responsibility sometimes. You have to say, okay, I want to do this task and I feel capable of doing so, because otherwise you will not get the chance to develop further or get new tasks and to do challenging tasks, because otherwise your supervisor might think, okay, he's not comfortable in going forward. So you have to say, I feel confident. I think I'm able to do it. I want more responsibility. And I think this is really important to show to others.
Yeah, especially if you want to go ahead, like go forward in your career and international trade, and your things like that. You should have that type of mentality, as Ben is explaining, that you take the initiative, you ask for responsibility and those type of things. So you might not get it right away, but it shows that you are trying. So if you keep on trying and you try at multiple places, you are going to get through some one way or another. Yeah, please get it. Keep going.
Yeah, I want to share about an example of my internship. So my boss was assigning me to tasks, and she really just briefly described what I should do. So I was really eager to try and yeah, start working on it. And then I was finished. I gave her the results, and she was really not amazed by what I did. So I was really down, and then tried again, and she never really approved what I was doing. So then because she didn't give me any boundaries, I thought like I have the creativity to do it by my own. But in the end, she had like a fixed picture in mind, which she wanted to be my work to be. So I needed to take more time and needed to ask her again and again. And I think what I've learned is that sometimes, even if creativity is good, you should check or double check with your project manager is if he is like approving what you are doing. And on the other side, I think it's really important to give some creativity also to the people working under you, because they are also like they're also smart, and they also know how to fix a problem. But if you always tell them like how they should fix it, I think that's really yeah, damaging the whole process.
Of course, it is big time. It is damaging, especially in the context where you have hired smart people, because smart people are going to have their own ideas. But think about this example which our friend gave. It's a typical example where the boss is going to give you some task, and they will have some picture in their head, and they will just assume that you understood what you wanted. It's not like that. People don't really, many times people don't understand, no matter hard you try, they have their own thing, and this type of thing happens. So think about that. Very good contribution, and please give some example just like our friend gave. I think that is going to uh, clarify the thoughts more, just the theory. Please go ahead.
So I did my internship with a big company, and we had also global projects. And what I learned there was it's not only important what are the strengths in the team and the weaknesses, but also how the team works together. So it's really important that they're like equal personalities, or at least personalities they fit together and they like to work together. Because if you like your team member or you get along with him, it's way easier to work and to like to go to work gratefully and to make more process than if you would be in a meeting and you would think, oh no, now I have to talk to him again. And also what I learned is that you always have to keep in mind that you work in an agile and hybrid environment. So there's always something that will not work, but that should not keep you down.
Very good, very good.
I also wanted to add, like in my internship, I also had a project which I had the full responsibility on. And I used one of the tools which we learned during our courses for risk management. So I thought about the risks that could appear during the project, and then I ranked them for probability that they will happen and how high it would affect my project. And this worked quite well because I also thought about strategies, what I can do if one of the risks appears. For example, the project was like a training program, which was for several days. So one risk could have been that like the rooms which I've booked could be cancelled, and this already also happened then for real. So I already had a plan B, so to know that I have another room would be free at the same time. So this tool really helped me during my project. So I think it's important to have those risks in mind and the strategy, how you can work with them.
Very good, very good.
I think important for project management, it's you always have to look into long term, so you won't waste your time and the cost. And also, I wanted to reflect on the feasibility that our colleague just mentioned. I think the level should at least be that you have the ability to solve the problem that maybe suddenly come up. Yeah.
Very good, excellent point.
I also wanted to follow up the part of setting your goals and being reliable. So I think it is extremely important to have like feasible goals, because otherwise, if you can't fulfill your goals within the time and within the budget, you won't be reliable and trustworthy anymore. So for example, the Berlin airport, I mean, probably everybody will know that this is a huge failure. I think it should have been opened like a few years ago, but still, I mean, it seems like project management was lacking a lot. So I guess like they will have huge financial problems, like for investments and for finding the right partners and so on. So I think if your goals aren't feasible and you're not trustworthy anymore, it is even harder to continue with your project than before you failed.
Interesting point, feasibility. So there might maybe there are two different angles we can think about it. One is that the projects which are feasible, and other is the projects which are your dream projects. So for dream projects, you might think a little bit differently, but feasibility, of course, is it possible or not? Do you have the capacities, capabilities to do that or not? But if you are always doing the projects which are feasible, how you are going to achieve something bigger than what you are? Yeah, you have to think about that also. In personal life also, like if you are always doing the things which are feasible from the day one, you think, yeah, I can do this, I will. So how will you push yourself? Yeah, so that is again, but good point, is absolutely right, feasibility and other points. Next one, please.
So I would say motivation is really important, like especially when you're like not the project manager, like when you've not really like into that project, but you're more or less just assigned to that project. I think then it's really important that everyone on your team is really motivated. And I think still the main challenge with motivation is like, I don't think that a leader can totally motivate a person. I think it also has to be intrinsic. So I think if the person isn't motivated just by themselves and just as down to the project just by themselves, it's hard for a leader to get this person totally on board and totally motivated for the project. So therefore, I think you should just hire persons for your project who has the same values and share the same attitudes and the same like passion for this project.
This is a very interesting point Teresa made. So she's saying you can't really motivate people. This is very interesting, very interesting point, and reflect on this. If I am saying something and they are motivating you in one way or the throughout our engagement, let's assume that I or anyone else said something. You listen to some YouTube clip or whatever, and you felt that you are motivated. Please know and understand this point which Teresa made. It is not that they motivated you. Yes, they initiated the process, but they could only motivate you if there was something in your heart there. Maybe you are not aware. So we of course, from the observation, we feel that other people are motivating us, and they are of course motivational speaker who are doing very well across the globe and so on. But if you look deep, uh, they were only able to motivate you because somewhere in your heart, in the mind, in the back seat, maybe that idea was there. If that idea was not there, then no one can really motivate you. You in the personal level have to have that little desire, even if it is small, that that little flame should be there, that little one, and then you can make a big fire from that. But if there is no flame at all, you can't create a flame. Generally speaking, so this is a very good idea. Actually, I was listening to a couple of people on this topic, which our friend made, and I really believe in what he's saying, that our these things which we hear, and they motivate us. They only motivate us if there is something in us also towards that whatever is being motivated. Think about that, and you can have your own point of view. Please go ahead.
I would add on Ike's contribution, because something very similar happened to me during my internship. One of my tasks was to take care of the process of creation of little digital invitations for press lunches, for example. And I had to navigate the process and talk to the graphic designers and the copywriters, and this took many people, and the department who briefed it to us was very often they were not clear about their specifications of how they want the invite to look like. So in the end, we had many rounds of approval processes. And also there was little showing of appreciation of the work of the creative department. And this in the end led to a true disharmony between the departments, even though we were one company and we should work on this together and be a team. So yeah, this is the thing that I really realized, how important it is to be aware and to also show your awareness of the work of others, how much it takes, and appreciate this.
Very interesting, good contribution. So you guys have mentioned major pointers there. So let me add to the discussion if I can. So I'm going to add these as a supplementary discussion on the website. You can look it up later on. Project management, some things are there. For example, conflict negotiation, risk management, conflict resolution. You guys spoke about that. I want to look at these are two articles which I want to share with you. Maybe why good projects fail anyways. What is the so you should scan this one, for example, when you have time. Why good projects fail? What is the reason? Because think about that, the things you are mentioning, they are correct, and then still people can't make the project successful. Just run a Google search to find out how many projects in the world are successful and what is the failure rate of projects. I think I told you that in, for example, in IT project management, because I was reading about that, IT project management, 70% of IT related projects, more than 70% fail in the world. But you can look it up. Just run a Google search, project management failure rate, globally speaking, and see what comes up, and try to reflect on that. That these things which you are mentioning, they sound very simple. Then why they are unable to do these small things? For example, look at this one. Managers expect they can plan for all the variables in a complex project in advance, but they cannot. Yeah. So managers, especially managers who have been successful, highly accomplished people who have good track record to show, they somehow they think that they have planned for all the variables in a project in advance. But you really cannot plan for everything. You can just plan for most of the things, and then you have to see that if something new comes up, how do you deal with that? So that resilience, those type of things you have to develop in your own personality. How do you deal with something when an unexpected situation comes up just like that, which you have not planned for? How do you reflect in your own life? How do you do that? Like when you have not planned for something and it just comes up on your desk or at home or something like that, how do you deal with that? Do you get really frustrated? Do you get angry? Do you, or you say, all right, let me do it. Initial reaction can be a little bit of, nervousness, but after some time, after half an hour, 1 hour, what is your reaction? How do you go about that? Nobody is that smart or has that clear a crystal ball. Nobody is. And if we think we are, maybe we are till now, but this thing is going to catch you one time or another. Uh, uh, so think about that. And who is saying it? This is a study published by Harvard University. Yeah. So think about that. So it's an interesting article. You should think about that. Read it. A leadership balancing act. These type of things. Shift of accountability. One of our friends spoke about, for example, responsibility. You can link about that, and they have given some examples also. So in your own time, I think you should go in that. A call for humility. I think this section you should maybe scan if you cannot read all of the all of the article. For example, this one, rapid results initiatives challenge senior leaders to cede control. So, and control is something which we want to keep control. So, because control is something which makes us think that we are important and so on. So, think about that. I have posted a couple of books also on project management. If you are interested, you can look into that. This is an example which I have posted. Please watch it in your own time. Very interesting example. 1.5 million balloons. This is the project. 1.5 billion. Billion or million? No, just 1.5 million. A million balloons. This is the project. As you can see, a lot of balloons there. They wanted to send it out in the sky, and what happened, and how they planned for the project, and who are the people who are doing this. And I think they are also mentioned in Guinness Book of World Record or something, like they are very professional. And what happened, and what are the things they how did they plan it, what went wrong, what went right, what was the fallout. This is a small clip, it is not a long clip, but so do watch it and see, and reflect on the discussion. Last thing I want to talk about is I think you guys did not mention, and I thought so too, that maybe you guys will not mention that one. So this is an article again by Harvard University. It was published in 2007. It's a very short two page thing, 1.5 page only. Yeah. So please read this. I think you should. Even if you are not interested in business, even if your interest is something else, that is fine. Whatever your interest is, even if you are not going to study ever after your undergraduate degree, still you should. This is very important. Performing a pre-mortem project pre-mortem. So what are post-mortem? So when someone dies, police or people, hospital, they do a post-mortem, that is to identify what went wrong, why that person died, and that type of thing. And they find out, oh, did he was poisoned, or it was a natural death, and whatever. So that is post-mortem. Here we are talking about pre-mortem. Before the thing has failed, imagine that what can go wrong. What are the things which can go wrong? This is a very important tool also in risk management. You are trying to minimize the risk. But let's say you start a course and you imagine that you have failed that course. Just imagine that you failed, and then start coming back, that what are the things which could go wrong, which would result in your failure. Yeah. So maybe you did not complete the assignments, maybe you did not participated in the discussion in any way, maybe you were just busy with something else, maybe something happened which was out of your control. For example, some emergency came, some death happened of some closed one or something like that. Anything can happen. This is life is like that. So so just imagine that what can go wrong before even you started the project. That would be pre-mortem, and try to manage those things. Try to think about what are the things you can do to minimize those risks of the in the project and stuff like that. So please go ahead and read this one once you get some time. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Please go ahead, Arafat.
Yes. Regarding mentioning the project management and relating it to the failure or success or the path of certain topic, it's the idea of how hard or in order if I want to relate it to a mark to bring a full mark, or regarding a project how hard it is to succeed in it fully. Okay, I can succeed in a project, but I may be late in it, or a lot of circumstances can happen. Relating this also to the mark, I can succeed, I can pass in any topic, but I may get 70s, 80s, but not 100. So mentioning is how hard, if you want to succeed fully, how hard in order to, how can I say it, to dig deep into details regarding a project or a mark in order to fully have receive 100% of what you expected.
Thanks for this contribution, Arafat. So with that, think about, for example, when you are looking for example, pre-mortem, and you are trying to see what you will be able to do and what you would not be able to do, especially in the context of decision making and so on. It will be many times it would be forecasting. You would be forecasting for something. So I wanted to add that also. So as we talking about project management, also want to talk about forecasting a little bit. So for example, how forecasting is done in big international trade. How do they forecast? What is the process they take? Because if the forecasting is accurate, the more closer it is to accuracy, the better the business is going to perform. So I have put some examples here. You can look them up in your own time. How Amazon is looking at it. This is the BBC News. And large supermarket chains spent almost a year planning for the busy Christmas period. So in the Christmas period, when you are shopping and you are seeing the holy Yes, so yes, so I was trying to link, take forward the discussion and trying to include forecasting in this. So, for example, I was saying that look into these companies like Amazon. How do they forecast international trading businesses? They are trading so many things, Amazon and these type of companies. A lot of products are being traded on a minute to minute basis. So how do they forecast that? What are the requirements and how much inventory they should have and so on? Linked with, like, for example, something like operations management type of discussion. So how do they do that? So I have put in some example, some video here. You can read it. BBC. Some writing is there and a clip is also there, so you can watch it in your own time. Large supermarket chains spend almost a year planning for the busy Christmas period. So in the Christmas, when you are going out for shopping and you see plazas filled with all those type of things, these companies have done some type of forecasting for that, and that forecasting they start from January, February. They start preparing for December period. As Christmas ends, after a little break, they get back on this and they start looking at it, deciding what kind of food they think customer will want to buy. Following is an example linked with forecasting where ASDA estimates it will distribute around 9.5 million turkeys in December. The chain's director of logistics shows us around one of their biggest depots and explain how they calculate how much food they will need for each store. So this is just one of the project management in one of the projects when you are managing international trade. I'm giving you example of ASDA, 9.5 million turkeys in December. So think about how they would be managing that type of project. So forecasting is, I think, very important. I want to briefly touch on something on forecasting. Here you will find a link for a very exciting paper on forecasting. This one says 6 rules for effective forecasting. So generally in international trade, you won't know things until you get the results. So, but as you are planning for them, as you are doing risk management, as you are doing project management, whatever you are doing, you would have to forecast and that is in the future, of course. So you don't know what will happen, but you are just making some estimation. So I think we should think about this, that what are the most important things in forecasting. So that I won't ask you, but I would like you to read this fascinating article. I think it is going to help you a lot in making different type of forecasting, not just in business, but also, we are forecasting all the time. So uh, we are always saying this will happen, or let me prepare for this because this can happen and so on. This is a rule number one. For example, define a cone of uncertainty. Reflect on that. Define a cone of uncertainties. Try to think about the shape of the cone, how it is narrow from the start, and the horizon keeps on expanding as it goes forward. So it is a cone of uncertainties. What it means in simple words is, you are saying, if I do this, A can happen, B can happen, C can happen, D can happen. We're not really sure what will happen, but these are the different things. It's a possibility that those things happen. So what they are trying to say, don't be very certain when you are forecasting. Yes, your forecasting might have been accurate always, but still you don't know for this particular case which is there in the time. So don't be very rigid with what is going to happen. They have explained some examples. For example, as you are seeing this whiter section where I'm moving my cursor, you are seeing different options are there. So uh, I think this is worthwhile to spend some time. I think it will take 40 minutes, roughly speaking, to read this article. So you should do that, and look at this rule number 2. Look for the S curve. What is S curve? Up and down and up and down, and that is the shape of life events also. No one's life life stays on the top always. Like life events are like that. You are up and then you are down and up and down, and that is the management you want to do in life also. When you are up, you don't get too excited and too complacent and too happy that everything is fine. Same way, when you are down, you don't get too much demoralized, demotivated that you say, well, everything is over. It is a balancing act which you want to think. And same way they are talking about, in the forecasting should reflect on that. Embrace the things that don't fit, embrace the things. Many things are not going to fit. Just like in the discussion, you see that participants are making points. You might think that this comment don't fit in the discussion. No problem, just embrace it. It might help you somewhere later down. It might help in continuing the discussion. So think about that in forecast, from the lens of forecasting, for example. I think that is very important. This one I really love. I really love this point, and I think if nothing else, at least this point all of us should keep in mind whenever we are forecasting, because this can be a big challenge. So they are saying rule number 4: hold strong opinions weekly. So hold strong opinions weekly. So you can have a very strong opinion on something. Like you can say, oh, this is what I believe in, and this is how it is going to happen, and this is what it is. And I'm clear about that. But when you are forecasting, although you are really believing something, but you have to hold it very weakly, because anything can happen. It is forecasting. Some unexpected event can happen. Maybe you did not had clear communication with someone, and then that maybe the result from that is going to influence the end result. Something like that can happen. But this is a very challenge, because think about it. Any belief, think about any belief which you have in your mind, any belief. How can you hold it weakly? Because that is what you believe in. Let's say that you believe in God. Yeah, you believe in God. How can you hold that belief weakly? Because either you believe or you don't believe. It's not that. It's not a middle. Some people can have a middle ground also, but I'm talking about, in the. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. And on the other hand, if you are an atheist and you don't believe in God, and you don't, how are you going to hold it weakly? Yeah, but that is just one point. We're not trying to have a religious discussion in our session, but I'm just trying to think of, any. So you have to do it for yourself. Pick up any beliefs, any things you believe in or whatever, and then try to see how can you hold it weakly. So the idea is that when you hold the idea weakly, especially in international trade and forecasting especially, then you would be open to other possibilities. Only then you can have cone of uncertainty. Only then you can prepare for unexpected. Because if you are very rigid, if you are very certain, if you are very sure, then how will you take care of things which will just happen? Because then you might not be able to take it. So, but this is the dilemma in international trade, that on one hand, in forecasting, you have to have this flexibility which is required. For example, this point is, it fits well. Hold strong opinions weekly. On the one hand, you are talking about, in project management, you are talking about having flexibility and those type of things. And what is the dilemma? On the other hand, you want to be come out as someone who is very certain, who is very assured, who really knows what it is. Only then you are a leader. Have you seen a leader who says, well, anything you ask them, they say, well, we are not sure, we are not really sure. Not really sure. So why? It's not a leader. It's not. So that is the dilemma. That is the dilemma. That you have to be certain, and then you have to be uncertain, but you have to demonstrate your personality as a confident person. You want to demonstrate your international trade brand as a confident brand, that you know what you are doing, you know where you are heading. But on the same side, you have to hold your opinions weekly and flexibility and all other things which you guys have been mentioning throughout the last 4 or 5 days, whatever we have been there. This is again look back twice as far as you look forward. Looking back twice as far as you look forward. But then again, what is the dilemma? The dilemma is that you have to look ahead. Uh, as you guys mentioned it in the discussion, that you need to know what would be the future of your work going forward. 10 years, 20 years from now, how your industry is going to look like, how the international trade is going to look like, so you can prepare for that. So see what the dilemmas in business. Yeah, on one side they are saying do this, and on the other side they are saying do it that, and they are kind of cutting with each other, if you can see what I'm trying to say. So this is what it is. This one, please make note of this one. uh, Rule number 6: know when not to make a forecast. It's not, don't just start forecasting every time. Don't just forecast for everything, and know that this is not the time to forecast. A very interesting point. Please read this article, and yeah, it is this article is a little bit of a heavy reading. Like, if you are really interested in forecasting only, then touch it. If you are not interested, then this is not for you. This is, the language and the jargon is a little bit heavy, and it is not necessarily for a undergraduate, our type of class. But you guys are smart based on your discussion. So I said, let me talk about this with you. Risk management I want to talk briefly about, and please start thinking about what are some same format, just like we discussed project management. Start thinking about risk management, and tell us what are some of the things we should keep in mind. I understand maybe you have done some course or some module on that also. So please try to link it with international trade, and give us some example of how did you manage some risk in your life. What were some of the best practices you use when you manage some type of risk, and so on. And then we will see how it goes on. For example, I wanted to show you this one simple diagram. Identify risks, and this is linked with pre-mortem also. Identify risks. What are the things which can go wrong? Now, if you are very confident on yourself and you think nothing will go wrong, then how are you going to manage risk? So you have to really think about it, not just yourself, but ask other people around, people who have done something in international trade. Ask them, when you went in that market. So let's say you want to go to Belgium, you want to enter international trade in Belgium. So look around, see if other people in your same sector, they have tried to go in Belgium. If they have, asked them what happened. What, even if they failed, even if someone tried to enter in some market and they failed, you need to talk with them. As a matter of fact, when you talk with someone who failed in something, that is better than talking with someone who is a success. Maybe this is a little bit of a controversial statement, but think about this. So what I'm trying to say is, someone who has failed in something, if you talk with them, maybe you are better off than when you are talking about it with someone who was a success. Of course, you need to talk about both parties, people who are successful in the thing. But what I'm trying to say is, you also don't, like people who fail in life, don't just negate them, say, oh, this person did not make it. This person did not make it. Why should I ask them? No, they are going to tell you what are the blunders they made, and that is why they failed. So you have that opportunity not to make those blunders. So this one, you need to think about that. Measuring risk, then examining different solutions, what are different options, then implementing them. monitor results, and then this is a circular motion, it's keep on going, and then you can add different links where arrows are based on your own situation and circumstances. You can do that. I want to just briefly look at, as you are thinking about, so please think about what you have to say about risk management and those type of things. I'm just giving you time. In that time I will just quickly run through some things. For example, risk management is the identification, yeah, evaluation and prioritization of risk. Identify, evaluate, and then prioritize, because not every risk is worth looking at. uh, there is a some risks are more urgent to take care of, followed by coordinated and economical application of resources to minimize, monitor, and control the impact of unfortunate events. So you want to control those type of things. You want to minimize the impact. That is what you are trying to do in risk management. You are not trying to get rid of some risk totally. You are, if that is possible, very good, but essentially speaking, you are trying to minimize the impact and effect. If you can think about that, identify the threats. So for example, method, you can think about that. Identify the threats, assess the vulnerability of critical assets to specific threats. Some things are critical asset for your international business. You want to save them. Determine the risk, expected likelihood and consequences of specific types of attacks on specific assets. This is linked with, again, with forecasting. How will you forecast without making a bias or something like that? Identify ways to reduce those risks. That is what you are. So impact will be there, but you are going to reduce the risk. For example, think about simple things in life. Think about a car, any car. Think about a car. What is in a car? Do they put a seat belt in the car? So when you will sit in the car, you will see the seat belt, and you will start thinking, oh, so it can hit. That is why they are putting in the seat belt. So let me not sit in the car. No, you are going to sit in the car. Just wear the seat belt. So in the event, if accident happen and there is a risk that it can happen, you have a seat belt that is going to save you. Think about other things like airbag. Yeah, so if they say, oh, this car has 12 airbag or 15 airbags, you might start getting anxious. You might say, my god, this seems like there have so many airbags, like this car really can hit something. Is they are not really sure about the product, that's why they put in 15 bags or something like that. Nothing like that. They are just trying to maximize your opportunity to save yourself, that if that thing happen, you have so many airbags are there. And the material of the body, how much it will, its ability to take the accident from different angles. If it crash, if it turns over, how many times it can turn over, and still the passengers will remain safe. Those type of testing techniques are, you can watch them on YouTube. Crash test, just type crash test, and type the brand of the car you want to look into. Crash testing, for example, BMW, and see what comes up and what are they trying to do. Prioritize risk reduction measure. Prioritization, think about that. This is because all risks are not given equal weightage. Some risks are more important for you to look into your life. How do you minimize various type of things? But anyways, let me take you guys and see how we can proceed with this. For example, this one is scenario based risk reduction. Scenario based. So this is what you are doing. You are making different scenarios, that okay, this can happen. If this happen, I will do this. If this happen, I will do this. If this happen, I will do this. As a matter of fact, all of this is planning phase of international trade. So you are trying to think about all the different type of risks, and but on the same note, as Ashraf said to us in the earlier part, that deadlines, don't forget deadlines. Yeah, so you have to do all these things, and you have to manage deadlines. My God, that's really serious things. Yes, please go ahead. Risk management. What do you guys have to say? Arafat, Bianca, Isabel, please go ahead, or anyone else.
I'm the
Okay.
second in line, so if
Sorry,
Arafat
I
does,
just wanted to make this comment, but go ahead, Bianca.
are you the first?
No, you go.
Okay. Okay, so you know, there isn't the one way how to deal with risks. So there are actually, I think, 4 practices on how you can deal with risks. And I want to make that clear based on the example that you just made with the car. So there's first of all risk reduction. So that's how you already said would be you know, wearing a seatbelt or having airbags and so on in order to reduce the risk that, you know, I get hurt in an accident and then, you know, I gotta pay for the cars to, you know, repair them and everything. Then second would be risk avoidance. So that means, well, I'm not even going to get into that car and, you know, drive with it for me to, you know, completely no, for me to not have the risk at all to like maybe I'll crash. Then third would be risk transfer. So I will get in that car and what I have is I have in. Are you still there? Oh, yeah,
Yes,
there
yes,
you go.
please go ahead. Yeah, very keenly,
And what
we
I
are
have
listening to
is
you very keenly. Yeah.
okay. And then I'll get in that car for risk transfer. And what I do is I have insurances that in case something will happen, they will have to pay for, you know, the hospital, the crash, and so on. And then the fourth practice would just be risk acceptance. So I just want to go from A to B, and I accept the risk that I might crash in that car, but I just need to do that.
Beautiful. Bianca, can you give any example from your own life? Anything like what did you do to minimize any type of risk in your life? Any example you can give from, from work, from school, from private personal life, like you can take us through, okay, I did this and this helped me in minimizing the risk, or maybe you did something and it did not work out and you could not minimize the risk and you had to face the failure or challenge, whatever. So anything you can say on that, it would be nice for us. Please go ahead.
Well, I think just the German system is a typical example for risk transfer, you know, because we all have social insurances and so on. So I have that too. And, you know, there are some people that are privately insured, but this is not the case with me because I don't want to have to worry about, you know, if I ever get really sick or something, I don't have to worry about, you know, paying the hospital bills. So that would be an example for my personal life.
Okay, thanks for that. In international trade, also you would have to think about these things. For example, if things if your products get fired or some disaster happens and they are wasted or something, insurance is something which companies always are looking into. We did not speak about that, so thanks for bringing in this point. So you can link it with anything in the international trade. Think about the insurance cost, how big the insurance cost these businesses would be paying, and so on. And many times, it is third party, so they don't. If any loss happens, the consumer is not directly impacted. The person who made the product, they are not directly implemented harmed in the real sense. They might have to wait and all the hassle and paperwork and all those things, depending on which country they are coming from. Germany, I'm assuming they must be fast in this and more, maybe their systems are automated and stuff like that. But in other countries there can be some problems. Sometimes business do it, you can do it intentionally also. So they will maybe, the goods are getting expired or something like that and they are unable to sell them or something like that. They are going to damage the products or something, and the same for the insurance money and something, and then depending on how the structure in that country is, if the officials who come and find out what you might be able to give them some bribe and get over with this and get the money from insurance. So depending on the country where, that is why country selection, market analysis, which you are doing in the other module, I assume that is very, very important in all of these discussions which we are doing, where you are going to go, because their policies, laws, and all those things which we have been talking about in earlier discussion, they are going to really impact so many things. Yeah, so I think that is good enough. Bianca really linked the four major areas. Of course, there are so many, but those are the four key areas, and then you can link them to our other discussions. Ashraf, you wanted to say something. Arafat, you have raised your hand, so please, anyone else, whoever want to say something, please go ahead and
There was
so I
a
can.
special comment I wanted to make about deadlines, because I mentioned deadline, but funny, I mean, last Saturday I had a talk with Timothy, who's with us here, and he mentioned the deadline, and I thought the deadline is mid-July, but apparently it was this Tuesday. So I missed the deadline, but luckily I made it last minute to submit the assignment.
Okay. Which assignment you are talking about?
It was scientific techniques, just about
Okay.
writing paper. And I mean, the chance to do it would have been next year, so I had to wait 1 year if I didn't submit it.
My God.
It would have been terrible, yeah, but luckily I made it last minute.
Well, I'm very happy that you, and this is what happens in the international trade also. If you miss the deadlines, there are big cost for that. Just like Ashraf is giving his own opinion, own experience, that and these things happen. Sometimes we would not read it correctly, or miscommunication or something. These things happen naturally in our life, in various things, and we don't maybe are fulfilling the deadline because we don't know that when is the deadline or whatever. So these type of things become very, very important, especially in international trade, because there will be multiple projects to land one product in an international market. Multiple projects are coming: financing project, marketing project, customer satisfaction project. All these projects are simultaneously running, market analysis and all those type of thing, launching and everything. And one project out of all these do not meet the deadline, and then you cannot execute the plan. So a lot of coordination is required. So thanks very much for this point, Ashraf. Continuous improvement, so I wanted to bring that also in the discussion as we are talking about international trade. So continuously improve and improve and improve and improve. That is what I made that point in the earlier discussions also. But continuous improvement is something which you really have to keep in mind. Um, what should be the structure of an organization? We are going to talk about it shortly. Please start thinking about it. Quality structure. What is the quality structure in an organization? What is how an organization should be organized? How an international trade should be organized that it gives out quality products, profitability, and all those types. What should be the structure, layout? And we will talk about that shortly. Quality culture, for example, we already had culture discussion in the early part of the week. So try to link some pointers with the point of with the topic of culture. That what are some of the things which a culture should have, so it automatically produces quality. Yeah, what are some of the characteristics which a culture should have, so that it start producing profitability, quality, and those type of things. Yes, those things you want to think about. We spoke about leadership already. You need to think about what are the things in a leader which automatically start delivering quality products in international trade? That is something which you would want to do. So I've made the postings here, so you are going to watch them in your own time and link with various things which you guys have been saying. For example, goal setting, objective, link that with purpose, what your international trade is trying to achieve. Those things you would want to think about. This apology and these things, decision making, we already spoke about. uh, in last session I spoke about why organizations do not learn. I asked you this question, that why do you think that organizations do not learn these things which we are talking about? For example, last week, yesterday we were talking about failures and uh, why people make mistakes, and you guys were mentioning things which were, all of them were right, but they sounded very basic. So it is in our interest to really understand that why organization do not learn. What is the reason why they are not learning these mistakes which other people are mentioning? Other people are telling us in this discussion that these are the mistakes their boss is making, these are the mistakes which are happening in their projects. And if you have done or been part of any project, you would you would really relate with it, that yes, in my project also this thing happened, my boss is also like this. These are similar things which are happening across regions, across cultures. People are facing these things in leadership, in project management, in all these type of things which we have been talking about. So I really think that it is in our interest to really think about that, why organizations do not learn. What is the reason they don't learn? You need to reflect it in your own time. I don't want to have a discussion on this, but some pointers we can quickly go through. So for example, bias towards success, this article is going to talk about that. Challenge number one, fear of failure. If I Yes, I know that this thing uh, sometimes give me some troubles, but if I try something new, I might fail, and if I fail, people will ridicule me. If I make some comment which is not politically correct, then I might lose my reputation. Those type of things. Over reliance on past performance. Sometimes companies are just looking at their past performance and saying, oh, we are very big. And look at the cases in Germany, in France, these type of economies which are more influential in the EU, as you are talking about regional economic integration, than the other ones, like the Spain and those type of countries. Yeah, not that Spain is any less, that is a wonderful country also, but economy wise, there are some countries which are heavier in EU than the other, just like in any other integration. So try to link it with that. A fixed mindset. You guys were talking about flexibility, for example. Yeah, so fixed mindset. Uh, Many times you will see leaders, especially successful leaders, it is very hard to convince them, or if they are saying something and you are saying something else, it is very hard to make them agree on what you are saying, because they might be over reliant on their past success. They might say, oh, I know what I'm talking about, I've done it many times. So successful person, successful leader, they are useful, but when you get success, speaking, when you get success, when I get success, we should not get too much, overconfident. Yeah, overconfidence is good. Confidence is good. It's very important. It is essential to be successful in international trade or anything in life. Confidence is key. But if you are overconfident to the level where you are maybe not listening clearly what the other people are saying, how you are going to uh, how you going to manage? Especially, one of our friends, they mentioned that early warning signs. She mentioned something about early warning signs in project management. So if you are the leader and you are so much comfortable in what you have to say, and someone gives you that early warning sign, because you have fixed mindset, because you are overconfident. You might not, you might not listen to what they are saying. Uh, Enhance and teach growth mindset. And I'm very happy that one of you mentioned that, like, growth in not only your workers, but growth in yourself also, as leader, as manager, as whatever. That is very important. But again, this is easy to say in a discussion, very difficult to do in practical life. That is why you should start these practices from now. So by the time you are more involved with the senior level of work, uh, you already have these type of characteristics. Uh, if if you can do that. Lack of reflection, lack of reflection. That is why we have a reflective exercise also for this module. Just 200 words, nothing big. Yeah, but reflection, it is an opportunity for you to sit down and reflect and think, okay, what did we do, what did we not do, what worked, what did not work, next time how we should do it differently, what can we learn from what we did, what are the mistakes I have been making, how I can minimize those mistakes in the future. That is what reflection is about, but it requires time and space. And unfortunately, the way lives are designed, especially in busy environments, just like one of our friends gave example of Singapore, how busy life is there. So is in many other countries. Hong Kong, very busy life, and so on. So lack of reflection is there in your own life also. I invite you to stop for a moment. Uh, don't 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 without worrying about the courses and assignments and all those things which you have to do. Just reflect on, the reflect on your life uh, every day, if possible. Just reflect that, give yourself time. Do you have some space where you can just sit down and think about these things? Because if you don't reflect, and if you keep on doing what the not you will achieve the task, you will meet the deadlines and so on and so forth, but for your own personal growth, personal development, you definitely need to spend time with yourself. Yes, friends are important, family is important, all these things are important. I'm not encouraging a lonely life or a solitary life. That is not healthy, and that is not recommended. But uh, spending time with yourself, that is I think very important. If you want to get ready to manage the challenges of life and challenges of international trade, as there are so many. If you reflect, and then you at least reflection gives you time to identify who you are, what is your strength, what is your weakness, what you are passionate about, where you are right, where you are wrong. Those type of things very important. So think about very interesting article. I'm not going to spend more time on this. I've already spent more time than I wanted to discuss these basic concepts of project management, risk management, forecasting, pre-mortem. But I hope that they have some significance in your life. Other article I really want to look at, increase return on failure. This one, increase return on failure. We did speak about failure. We know that we are going to fail uh, because we are going to do big things, new things, challenging things. We are going to challenge ourselves in life, at work, in international trade. That is why we are going to fail, because we are not just playing in our comfort zone. We are coming out of our comfort zone. So that is why we are going to fail. Nothing is wrong in failing. So in that, as we fail, we want to increase our return on failure. Return on, you have heard the term return on investment in various courses, and but have you heard the term return on failure? That is what we want in our life, because because we accept that we're going to fail. So if we are going to fail, how we can increase that return? So one of the most important and most deeply entrenched reason why established companies struggle to grow is fear of failure. So again in this one also, coming why people who are there are some people who are not going to participate in the discussion, and who are not going to raise their hand, and who are not going to say anything, and that is fine, no problem. If you don't feel like, no problem, that is fine, that is okay. But if it is the case that you are not speaking because you have fear of failure, you have fear of anxiety, you have that fear that what people will think, and that is not healthy. That is not recommended. So think about that. Step one: learn from every failure. Whenever you fail, just reflect, think about it, learn from it. Where did you go wrong? Ask yourself. You will get some answers, and then ask other people also. But again, as one of our friends was mentioning, take feedback from the right people, not just anyone. The right people who know the situation and context and everything. We spoke about that yesterday. Yeah. Share the lessons. Step two. Yeah. Uh, Review your pattern of failures. Do you have that pattern that you repeat your mistake, and that is now wrong. If you are getting failed by doing similar type of things, that is wrong. If you are failing for new things, that is fine, because you are trying new things. Yeah. But what we are trying to say, that you go in the project, you go in the process with full preparation, with full risk management, with full project management, with getting fully prepared, with your strength, not with your weakness, with your confidence, everything. And then when something don't work, then you just learn from the mistake. You don't just get disheartened and just come out of it, because otherwise you won't be successful in international trade. Because if you are very, if you take failures very very seriously, in the sense that you get dejected, then international trade is not for you. And I would say even life, even general life, people who can really take kicks, uh, uh, they fall and rise back, fall and rise back, fall. That is what it is. You would see that in all the successful people in the world, or all the successful businesses in the world. So think about that. I asked you to do this exercise, that please run a Google search, that what are the companies which reward failures. I'm not sure if you did that or not, but want to give you some examples. Like Google is one company which reward failure. So you can look into this one, like secret Google lab rewards staff for failure. Yeah, this is not fake news. This is what they do, and you can read the details now. Or you can run a Google search, you will find, or you can find other companies which reward. Yeah. Uh, I think I briefly discussed it somewhere, but I wanted to show you these things also. That is why I'm taking some time here. So how Google's Moonshot X division helps its employees embrace failure. Yeah, they don't shame them, embrace failure. But then again, you have to think that we are talking about Google. Think about the type of people they hire. They are not going to hire everyone. They are very selective. They want the best minds. But once they have those best minds, then when they fail, they don't just reject them. But another company, Google and Facebook, these are very very famous ones. So I wanted to pick up some other company also, just to make up the point that it is not these these companies which are very famous around the world. There are many other companies. So for example, Supercell is another company which I found. You can read these details here. Supercells, about they have established here that when you will read the fine print, you will know that what they are doing to celebrate failures. For example, this one: my biggest nightmare is waking up and realizing we have not failed in a year. Yeah. So this is Supercell. This is the same company which I am. My biggest nightmare is waking up and realizing we have not failed in a year. The CEO of the company is saying that. That is my biggest nightmare. That a year is gone and we have not failed in anything big. We have not failed in that. So ask yourself, do you do that also? Like if 3 4 months, 5 months, 6 months are gone and everything is nice, going smoothly, and you have not failed anything, you would be happy. I would be happy. Oh, everything is going smooth. But what that means is maybe we are not pushing ourselves to our limits. We are just doing things as status quo. So look at this. The CEO says, no, we need to fail. We need to fail. He's saying it, and you can listen to. I've posted his clip also here, so you can look it up, and it's a short clip, and I'm sure you will like it. Overall, when we were talking about international trade and we were talking about countries and which country to go and so on, although that is part of your other part of this course, country selection and those type of things. I think this section can help you national productivity, and I'm giving you a case of one of the countries in Europe, so maybe you can relate in a better way. These are short clips. You can watch them and try to understand what are the things uh, make us understand the national productivity of a country, and so on. Any other pointers you want to add with the things which uh, which you want to say? Yes, Arafat, if you have to go, please go, and be safe. Thank you very much. So any other pointers you guys want to mention based on what we have discussed so far, in project management, in risk management, in forecasting? Why do you think companies fail? This attitude of celebrating failure. Anything on those lines, if you want to say, please go ahead. Okay, so these were some of the things which I wanted to talk about, and all of these things came from the discussions which we already had. These topics you guys mentioned these, so I thought that it is worth it that we should include them in our discussion. So just as a supplementary talk, I added these portions. I've not added them on the website yet, so I will do that shortly after our session. So maybe when you wake up tomorrow, you can look up these things on the website and so on, and try to understand what we are trying to do. Next topic which I would want to discuss, and please participate in the discussion, is organization of international business structures and control system and so on. So what I want to ask is that you see, we have been talking about so many things in international trade, and it is complex. So if we want to be successful in international trade, how should we organize? How should we structure our organization, uh, our companies, our departments, our interaction between people? How should we do that? And try to reflect it with the previous discussions. For example, you have looked at various charts in this, yeah, various flow charts in your other courses, maybe courses like organizational behavior and those type of basic courses. You see, there is a CEO, and below them there are maybe there are some managers, and then below them are assistant managers, and below them are someone else, and below them, yeah. So vertical levels and horizontal levels, you have seen those type of things. On the other hand, there are some policies where they are talking about maybe open door policy. So there can be some international businesses which say that if you want to say something, just come in my room and say what you have to say. There is no problem. So even if your junior can just knock on the door and they just come inside and do the thing, do the whatever they have to say. In some businesses, they keep the door, the leader, the manager, they keep their doors open. They don't lock them. Yeah, they would only lock them when something really important is going on. Otherwise, they will keep the door open. What are they trying to do? They are giving you a signal that our door is open. On the other hand, there would be some leaders, some managers who always will close their door no matter what. They are busy or not, they are always closed door. Yeah. So what is the signal they are giving? They are saying, no, you don't just come into the office, you have to take appointment or something like that. On the other hand, look at the structure of the organization. Think about the places where you go and work, or where you just went to do some transaction or something. Other offices, uh, how are they structured? Are they cubicles, small cubicles, where everyone can see what the other people are doing on their computer screens, or they have structured it like closed rooms. They are giving rooms to some people, so they can close the door and inside the room they can do the thing. Or they are giving them some hot desks, so that is not assigned to anyone who wants to do some work, they will just come and do the work. Or is it the case that they don't assign the workspace at all? They say, well, when you come in the building, depending on your mood, depending on how you feel like, you can go anywhere in the building and sit there and work. You can bring your own laptop. If you want our own system, you can borrow it from us. You just go where you want to sit. If you want to go on the top floor and sit outside and maybe enjoy the sunny environment also as you are working, please feel free to do that. If you want to go and sit on the couches, on the sofas, and make yourself comfortable and work from there, you can do it like that also. If you want to work in your office, that is fine also. So these type of, some companies structure it like that. What are the facilities you give to your workers? That is again an important thing, and I think it came in one of the discussions early on when we were talking about giving some space to workers where they can maybe just take a nap or relax for a bit, something like that. So that is also part of the organization and structure. But let me hear you guys. So please help me with this discussion. What do you guys think? What is the future of organization? And think about right now what is happening. Work from home, how the meetings are being done, teleconferencing and those type of things. So that is the structure of the organization nowadays. So try to reflect on this, that what should be the structure, or uh, or the organization of a modern international trade, if we want to be successful in that. Of course, I have posted a small talk here on the website. You can watch that in your own time, and some PowerPoints also. And I like this one. Process improvement, making impossible things possible. How routines and structures can help you make impossible things possible. This 3-minute clip explains you that. But anyways, please go ahead and tell us, what do you think about organization structure? Anything you have to say on that, and then we will see what.
So, regarding meetings, for example, I think that in the next time, the companies won't say that the manager, for example, all have to fly to the headquarters, because due to the virus, they recognize that it's also possible to do meetings only via, for example, Zoom, and that it works as well. So they don't have to fly to the headquarter and do the meeting.
Yeah, very thanks for this point, Olivia. But so guys, please reflect on this. earlier on, before the pandemic, people wanted to meet in person and they were not thinking about online conferencing as much as they as they wanted. So so they were not thinking about that, but now they had to do it, and now they realize that this is also fine. This has some disadvantages, but you save a lot of money by doing this. So the question here is that why companies were not thinking that before? Zoom was there at that time, Skype was there, this technology which I am using, Blackboard, this was there, all of these things were there, but why companies were not doing that? Yeah, so one of the reasons can be that they were not reflecting. Why they were not reflecting? It is not their fault. I'm not trying to say that they are at fault. No, 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 not at all, because they have to meet a lot of deadlines. No, so many challenges are happening, so they don't have time to reflect. That is why we are saying that please find time to reflect. When the pandemic comes and everyone has to, go on Zoom, that is fine, but why don't we think about these things before we are given the challenge? Why don't we prepare like that? And that is one reason why organizations don't learn, because they are not thinking on these lines. They are talking about status quo and all those type of things. So very good point, Olivia. Next one.
I think there trust issue, let's say, between employee and employees. So the employer won't trust that the employees will work from home, but now they are forced to do it. And I think in the future, within maybe 1 or 2 years or like 3 years, let's say, there would be enough studies that show like the productivity level of people working from home, and then they can trust more. And they should, I mean, at some point they will realize that if you work 3 days at the office and then 2 days from home, you might be more productive. I believe so. I mean, personally, because you'll have more time to do your stuff while working. And all the work should be task oriented. As long as you achieve your task and you achieve your deadlines, then it doesn't matter from where you do it, from the office or from home or from the balcony, it doesn't matter. So I think it's a matter of time until this whole thing of working from home will be the new reality, but not like fully. I don't think companies will do it fully, because we still need to sit together and have this face-to-face discussion. It's more efficient, let's say, to do it.
Uh, can I talk?
Are you still there? Because I'm not sure if you can hear us. I'm done. I've made my point, I think. So maybe the next one, Teresa, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I will go. So, from my experience, I really enjoyed being able to work remotely and not having to be at the office at set hours, because it just gives you the liberty to travel and to, I don't know, work when you are productive, and that isn't necessarily from, I don't know, 9 to 5, I think. So in my internship, I had that liberty, and I think I was way more productive than I would have been in a regular 5 job. So yeah, but I feel it's also a matter of how much you trust your employees, that they still will get everything done in a timely manner.
So I actually wanted to say kind of the same, like the company saw that the workers are still, the employees are still quite productive, so they know that it would work out. And I think there are many sources that state that like the effectiveness has even increased. So I could imagine that for many businesses, yeah, they're changing their organizational structure, like concerning home office or working in the office. Yeah.
I think in general, as an organizational structure in an international business, it's
super important to meet often. Like it doesn't matter how, if you meet in person or if you meet online, but it's important that you're in a constant communication flow and that everyone knows exactly what to do, because especially when you work with different cultures, then there might be some other understanding of what you say than another culture would understand it. So it's super important to keep the communication flow.
I think Corona will also change organizations regarding their sustainability. So since we already discussed this topic in our previous lectures, I think all of us know how important it is. And yeah, I think people won't do as much business travels anymore, as my other fellow students already told. So this will definitely improve organizations to be more sustainable and therefore attract and retain their employees in the long run.
I guess Corona showed us as well to slow down sometimes, and that is pretty important that organizational structures, integrate work-life balance into their structure. So, for example, at my internship, we meditated like each Thursday and Friday, and we had some yoga sessions every Monday. And these are like small things, but can change so much.
I also think imagining the workplace of the future, we will work way more with technology and, for example, alongside AI, and we'll hopefully have cool things like holograms greeting us when we come to work every day. And that'll also help in international business when you have systems that can deal with the with employees all over the world, and you can be more connected through technology. So I'm really excited for what's to come.
Yes, very good point so far. So think about, so for example, Ashraf mentioned that in the coming years, when we will have all these studies and reports, what was the impact of working from home using laptops and internet. If the productivity level was good enough, then maybe companies are going to, that direction. And then Teresa gave us example of her internship that was also very good, and all other points were, I really enjoyed them. I want two things. Leah, can you mention that trade related figures and numbers which you send me in your work? Anything you can say on that? The money saved in that regard, that would be nice. And also, who mentioned about meditation? Can you repeat that? I did not get that part. I think that is very interesting. So one of our friends just mentioned something about meditation and yoga and that. What was that?
Yeah, that was me. So
Yeah, please go ahead.
we had the tradition to meditate each Thursday and Friday for 20 minutes or something like that. And yeah, we had yoga sessions at our terrace each Monday, and yeah, it's quite cool.
Oh yes, it is. So what is the impact of that? How people are looking at that? People who are working. What is the impact, and
People are
anything you can tell?
people are slowing down and reflect on their day, and yeah.
Yeah, but most managers, they don't want us to slow down. They want us to keep on going, keep on going, keep on pushing, right?
Yeah, probably, but my manager wanted us to slow down.
Yeah,
He
that's
actually
a nice.
he joined the sessions like each
Okay,
time.
okay, okay. Very nice, very nice. See, so think about it. Think about this dilemma. So think about it. I am also talking about these things that, slow down, take your time, and all these things which our friend mentioned. This meditation part. I really like this one. So but think about it. Am I slowing down? Do I give you breaks? Like I should be giving you some break after every hour or something like that. I'm not doing that. Yeah. So think about that. This is the dilemma. So on one hand, I want you to enjoy and relax and reflect and all those things. But then I need to I need to do this also. So look at this. This is a dilemma. Leah, you are there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, please, Leah, go ahead.
I'm not quite sure what the figures were anymore, but roughly, it says that German companies spend about 55 billion euros on duty travels every year, which is roughly 322 euros for each duty travel. And they say that most of the duty travels are only for one day. Like, so you fly there and you sleep in a hotel and spend all this money for only one day, and then there's only 18% of all duty travels that are over 4 days. So, as said, basically, because all this duty travels can't be done now in person anymore, but all the conferences are taking place online. So we are saving all these emissions and all this money. So I guess that's also a point that companies will learn for the future, that
Yeah.
they might reconsider if it's really necessary to fly all over the world just to do this training, or if it's also possible to do it online. Because in my
Yeah.
internship, I also had a lot of meetings, and they flew from Hamburg to the Philippines just to close a deal. And like, it's a lot of traveling just for this one thing. Or we traveled for training for 2 days, and yeah, that are all things we could have done online.
Oh yes. Yeah. So look at this, guys. Duty travels and the numbers Leah is mentioning. Look at that, and it's quite a interesting concept she has shared with us. Yes. Next one, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to tell a story from my life. I've been working in a company, and we've been doing it through Zoom sessions online. But one day we decided to meet up in the office and spend like the whole day in the office all together. And I should say that it was a really productive and effective time. I think it's much more better than working online, and everybody agreed with this, because I think that real life interactions, the feeling of being in the team, to see the other people around you, it's really important. So I hope that after coronavirus we will be back at the offices, and we will have the opportunity to communicate with each other in personal. Like, because even the example of online education, I spoke with a lot of people, and everybody agrees that it is really hard to follow the lectures if you don't have this eye contact, if you don't interact with professor in real life. So yeah, it's much more difficult, and I think it applies in every sphere of life. Yeah, that's my point of view.
Yeah. On a lighter note, if you guys turn on your video cameras, I can definitely have a eye contact with all of you. But anyways, so
I can
Daria,
do it
I want
if you want.
that's okay. That if that is not, you're not comfortable with that. So Daria, please speak about that. I understand you are interested in films and those type of things. So what do you think? Let me ask you, the organization of how those places work. What is the future of that? Because you are talking about, for example, big fish eating the small fish, and you are talking about like online video demand that is growing, and many videos are launched, many movies are launched on, for example, YouTube and other type of mediums. Also short movies are launched there. Even before COVID-19, even before coronavirus, we were seeing definitely that industry is changing. So because you have some understanding of that industry, we want to understand from you that in the future, what do you think these film related distributions and these channels, how do you think they should be organized, or they will be organized? What do you think is the future of that industry? Anything you want to talk
Of
about that?
organizational structure, or all the general business sides of this. Like, I think that we are on the verge of big changes nowadays. As we can see, like the all film festivals this year, from Cannes Film Festival to Venice Film Festival, they were cancelled, and it was the main opportunity for independent films to be sold. Uh, I'm sorry. And now the independent productions that should be seeking for the other opportunities to maybe reaching out the distribution companies in the other way. Yeah, because we now. Yeah, and also I think you heard that the Oscar season was postponed this year, and actually it is really hard to plan anything now, and I think that strategic management is not really applied to our times, or maybe we can just think about all the risks. However, as you see, like nobody could predict that the virus will come, but now there it is. So yeah, I think it will be a great changes. I think a lot of platforms like and the ways of broadcast films would go online. And it's not bad actually, because there are lots of independent SVOD platforms like Movie. It's a really good platform for watching films from film festivals, and the price is almost as at Netflix, but you have the opportunity to like to educate yourself and to see maybe better films than the mass production. Yeah.
Yeah, very good, interesting point. So he's comparing various angles, and all of these things which Daria has mentioned very nicely for us. If you think about it in one way or another, they are going to impact the organization and structure of that industry, because that is also international trade. Movies are a big international trade. They are exchanged throughout the continents. You guys also, you might be from Germany maybe, but you like movies from some other countries, and so on and so forth. Of course there are some big giants in the industry, but we watch movies, dramas, theater, all these type of things, short type of documentaries from across the region. So that is a international trade, 100% international trade. uh, because it is a big commodity to have fun, and as Daria was saying, even to educate ourselves. Thanks very much, Daria. Next one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to contribute to this. I think the reason why um, we are not used to this Zoom and stuff is because of how things have been in the past. You understand? We are not used to this, and I think people don't trust Zoom and all these things, even though they are in the past. For instance, let me give you an example. For if a manager or a company want to try to negotiate, they can't do that on Zoom, because they cannot study the body language of the person they're trying to negotiate with. And body language is part of things that can give you advantage to get a good deal. So all these things, they don't want to try to use Zoom, so they would like to go there and in physical and make the deal. And also with the employees too. So many companies feel that their employees will be so lazy, or they cannot control them, because they could not see them or when they're doing their stuff. So I think that's the reason why companies don't use Zoom. But I think with this coronavirus, they have no choice, and I think it will change many things in the future.
Very true.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can I continue? Or
Yes,
is
please
that...
continue. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I see this a bit more critical with all the home office activities and all the stuff, because I think technology right now is developing a bit faster than we are able to adapt to it. And when we look at online meetings to close a deal, I think it's a bit critical as well, because it's so easy to replace you if there's no personal connection, or you can say, look, what we are doing to make your business better. We already see it in our lectures right now. It's easy to leave a meeting or not to contribute because you don't have any personal connection. And in business, it's going to be the same. If there is no personal connection, you will be easily replaced by your competition. And this can be very, very critical for your development.
Great point. Thanks for this contribution, Ben. So he's talking about personal connection, and we have been talking about it throughout, every now and then, even directly and even between the lines, that how important it is to develop that personal connection to be successful in international trade. So our friend is guiding us very rightly that yes, these structure of online and organizing the international trade like that, it has its advantages, but how can we deal, how can we build trust in this, how can we build personal relationship in this, so these are real valid points. But going back to the real question, if you guys can continue contributing on that what do you think, what how should an international business should be, how an international trade should be organized, what should be the structure of a successful international business, international trade, anything on those lines you guys can say. Please go ahead.
So I also think for organizational structure, the topic of outsourcing is really important, since we are so globalized and connected to so many countries. Like already a lot of IT services are outsourced, for example, to India. And during my internship, I also experienced that they are also already starting to outsource the HR department. So I think in the future, the organizational structure will change and only the core areas will remain in the headquarters.
Beautiful point, Isabel. What a beautiful point. This is well done, well done, very good. So this is outsourcing. This is very important aspect in international trade. So our friend is saying that keep the main things in the head office and then companies are outsourcing. But think about this. What are the disadvantages when you outsource? You must have seen this that you call a business for some customer service or something like that. I'm talking about businesses like if you have booked a airline ticket or something like that, you call and someone picks up the phone, and from the accent you can really understand that this person is not talking from a European country or US or Canada. They are talking somewhere from India or something like that. So or some Spanish speaking country in the Caribbean, they are talking from that. So they have outsourced the service of customer service, for example, to these type of countries. So they can save money on customer service, and you can outsource those type of things. But then sometimes you would see that your complaint, your question is not answered properly, or even if it is answered, it is not answered in the standard English, and you have difficulty in understanding all of that. So these type of things can really hamper international trade, but companies don't pay attention to this. As one friend did mention that customer is king in the last session, but when you see the dealing of various international businesses, international trade, you will see that their eyes are on many times on something else. Customer is important, but then they by customer they mean overall percentage of the customers, not individual customers. Like out of out of out of all the customers, if 60%, 70% customers are okay, they will say it is fine. They are not speaking individually to the needs of everyone. That is lacking in international trade. So when you are in that domain, you have to keep these things in mind, as our friend mentioned about outsourcing and the challenges and those type of things. Nothing is wrong in outsourcing. It is a beautiful concept, and as our friend rightly mentioned, that we should focus on core things. We need to be playing from our strength and so on. So other things we can definitely outsource, but then keep the risk management in that, keep the control mechanisms in that. And the way Bianca explained us, risk reduction, risk avoidance, risk transfer, risk acceptance, I think that is the same model we should use. A basic model, but very useful. Yeah, covers majority of the things. Yes, next one please.
So I think that companies have to be flexible to be successful in international trade, especially in the future. Like, I mean, we see it right now, like technology is so changing so fastly. They need to adapt to that. They need to adapt to crises like Corona, but they also need to adapt to like different political regulation, which can appear like really fast. If we, for example, take China and the US, they are like in kind of a bargaining conflict, so they arise like a lot of tariffs from one day to another, and I think therefore businesses have to be really flexible. And an approach which might be useful for that is international teams. So have like cross-cultural teams, so you have an expert in every country you're working in, so you can be adapt really fast to that changing environment in this country. So I think that's really important to be successful in international trade, to have that flexibility in your business.
Good point, thanks for that.
In my opinion, I would say that companies who act in financial trade have to do way better financial risk management now after Corona. Because if you take a look at the companies before Corona, they were highly indebted, and now in Corona they have like no revenues and they need to spend a lot more money, which just leads to them having to take on more debt, and in the end they will spend years serving their debt burden till they are able to pay everything back. So I think in the future, international companies will have to take a bigger look at the fact that they have enough money to if something happens, that they just save and that they don't have to rely on debt at the first day that something happens.
Thanks for that very good contribution, Jonas. Appreciate it.
So to be honest, I don't think that a lot can be prevent the things from happening that happened in this pandemic. But I also think that not a lot of companies won't change anything at all, because most of the management will only stay there for 5 years, and they only look that they will have good outcomes for them in those 5 years, and after that, that's the problem of the next one. And so this will always go on like this, and no really long-term strategic things will happen. That's not only in companies, but the overall world. Small things maybe change, but not much will be done to prevent things like this again.
Very interesting point, Viv, and it is all possibility that right now there is a hype and we are talking about this type of changing organization, changing structure. But once the things go back to the normal again, we will go back to our past habits, because it is very hard to break break habits. And then she is mentioning, Viv is very right in saying that management is going to they change, and then there are so many other things they are doing. So many times people go back to their past behavior, so it is a possibility. Only time can tell what happens. But maybe the idea is that we should see that how we can minimize our cost, just like for example Lee mentioned about duty travels. Other friends mentioned about decreasing cost by engaging in online meetings. But on the other hand, Ben mentioned that how are we going to create trust? How are we going to have that personal type of relationship? How that is possible? Uh, so those things are, those things are challenges. So good point, Wave. Thanks for that.
So I want to add a point to Benedict's point. I'm seeing this home office also as quite critical because I think if you get used to doing home office all the time, you it you will be spending in the end more time with your work than you would have done when you are actually at your workplace, because you work there and then when you're finished you go home. But if you're at home starting in the morning at 8 and working until 4 and then think, oh, I could do this and I could do that as well, you'll be sitting there until 6 and maybe each day. So in the end you're working more for the company as in the past when you were actually at your workplace.
Yes, thanks very much for that, Timothy. I think that is a wonderful point. Like how you are going to, break that cycle. Like when the work finish, you are working from home, so it will never end. So that is again, a problem for to consider. But generally speaking, overall, talk about the organization and structure. The question is not about just pandemic or the things we are going on now, just a general discussion on organization and structure. How should be the future of organizational structure if we want to be successful in the international trade? For example, international trade would require more communication. How can we achieve that in the future of organizational structures and so on? Those type of things, if you can reflect. Yes, next one, please go ahead.
Okay, so I would like to add about outsourcing. I'm from Ukraine, and here I worked in American company. So the head office in the US in Florida, but office with relatively cheap workforce in Ukraine. And what is interesting, the most guys in the office are from Africa and Morocco because they are coming to Ukraine to study, and of course they need to work, they need money. And at all, it is a very profitable strategy because they pay us like relatively good salaries, like for Ukraine, but for America, it's really, really low salaries. So they make very good profit from each lead, let's say.
Very, very interesting point, Andre. So these people who are working, what do they think about the salary? Are they okay with the salary? Because I'm thinking they are more of a student population, so they might be happy with what they are thinking. Although, as you mentioned rightly, that salary is less than what it would be paid in the United States of America. What do you think?
I think that they're mostly okay. Like there was one situation when all of us decided to ask for a higher salary, and no one wants to do it for us, so we just didn't come to work. Like for a few days, it was like a kind of, I don't know. Yes, and at all, a guy from America, he come to our office, like it take a week for him maybe, and he speak to us and he increased our salary. So, and now I think they're like absolutely happy with it.
Very, very interesting point. Very interesting point. And this is as we were talking about, in the earlier discussion. For example, in foreign direct investment, you guys can link it with that also. Like, companies want to open their facilities in countries where they would have to pay less uh, in terms of human resource, as Andre gave example, and in other things also where they can get cheaper raw material, and although everything related with international trade, they are selecting the location based on the money which they will have to pay at the end of the day, and that is how they organize and structure, generally speaking. Is that the right way? We have to think about that. For example, Bolivia, I gave you example of that, child child labor, you can call that, but the country allows it. So if Nike or Reebok or any type of shoe manufacturers, they open their factory there, is it right? Is it not right? Well, this is how their structure is. They have structured the business so they can minimize the money they have to spend. But ethics, yes, ethically these things can be wrong. Like, they should be paying the same salary to Andre and his friends, or other people he's referring to, as they would give in United States of America. That is theoretically speaking, in theory, in books, in ethics discussion, that is what seems right. But again, the practicality of business is not right. As I mentioned in earlier discussion, that every cent, every penny counts on these issues. So very good pointers you guys have mentioned. Think about these, that it's very important when how the things will be organized, how they will be structured in the office. They are very important. How easy is it to make the complaint, or do people listen to when you make the complaint? The excess factor. Other things also you can think about. For example, uh, if you want some information or some collaboration or communication from other departments, how much time it takes for all of that. If you send an email or something like that, requesting some information which may be is coming from other departments, and your manager has not written officially to the manager of the other department, but you are asking on your own, what is the structure of the organization, how they are going to give it to you, or if they give it to you, that is also going to help you. But if they do not give it to you on right away, without going through the protocols and all those type of things, then you can say that they are right in not sharing that information, because you were not privy to that information. But those things slow down the process of international trade, and timing is everything. If you have to take permission before doing everything and before getting every piece of information, then you are also increasing the workload of the managers also. But in some international trade, their structure would be very rigid. They will go with the step one, step two. If you want information from the other department, you have to write to this, and this person will sign, and then this person will sign, and then eventually it will come. On the other hand, in some organization, they make it a little bit flexible there. They say, oh, you can do the thing the way you want. Just like another friend mentioned today, that her boss gave his boss gave him some job to do, and he did the way he thought is okay. He was innovative and all those type of things in completing the job. But then when he gave the job, the boss was maybe thinking of something else. He had their own idea. He had her own idea how the job should be done. So those type of challenges are organizational structural challenges. I really encourage you to look into the organizational structure of the companies you like, or you really appreciate. What are the companies, international businesses, which you like? Maybe you like Porsche, or you like Audi, or some other, and any other, Amazon, or any other company you like, big company. Personally, I like Red Bull. I like Pepsi, Coke, these type of companies. I like them. So you can decide which company you like, and look at their structure. How are they? How work flows? A lot of information is available online, even on their websites. Different protocols, procedures, documentation. You can just spend like maybe half an hour on the websites of the companies you like, and try to understand how they are structured, and also see what are their plans for the future. How do they want to structure in the future? what are the things they are thinking to bring in the organization to improve the structure, how the things flow from top to bottom, even on the same level, how the information flows, how various things happen in the organization. All of that is part of structure and organization. So you can look at the area which you want. So if you are into marketing, you can look into the marketing department, how the structure of the marketing. If you like advertisement, if you like finance, whatever department you like, you can think about that. Based on your own experience, you can reflect on this. Like if you have worked at any place, which you guys have work experience, formal or informal work experience, even if it is working on a coffee shop or something like that, doesn't matter. Just think about the structure. What was the structure? It was formal, informal. When you make some mistake, what happens? How do they encourage? What are the basic protocols? What are the things you like and you dislike in that? So this type of reflection will help you when you will be creating some type of structures in an organization. So reflect on that. Anyone want to add something to this? Please go ahead. I think Sebastian want to say something. Yeah, and if any other person want to say something also, please go ahead. Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. I mentioned yesterday already, I worked with Bosch, and there we worked in matrix organization. So you always have the dilemma of reporting to a product owner, but also at the same time to your direct boss. So there is a dilemma, and I think this is very important to keep in mind that you have to deal with this dilemma of reporting to boss or more, especially in international trade. This problem gets, or this challenge is a big one.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much for this point, Sebastian. I really want you to elaborate on this, please, because this is exactly what I was talking about. So I think you have this example of Bosch and the director and or your manager, and how you have to manage both of them or something like that. If you can elaborate on that, I think our participants would really understand what are the dilemmas and challenges which we were talking about. So yes, Sebastian, can you elaborate on the thing, like, or give some example of what happened, like reporting or something like that? Anything you have to say, please go ahead. Sebastian is there, or I lost him? I can't
Yeah,
see him.
I'm here, but I did not get the question. Could you repeat it, please?
Oh yes, oh Sebastian. So I was saying that this point which you have made this is excellent point, and this is exactly what I wanted to say. So please help me take this discussion a little bit forward. So I was asking, can you please give some example of some dilemma which happened, which you observed, that you had to report to the director also, and you have to bring it to the attention of the manager also, the same thing which you mentioned a while ago. Can you take us through some example which happened or something like that, that is going to help us understand this dilemma which you rightly spoke about? Please go ahead.
Yeah, so for example, one example was we worked at a trade fair in Berlin, and we need to organize which devices to show there, and then the product manager wanted his best product there, but the direct boss said no, we need our bestseller there. And then we had this dilemma, the product view against the marketing or the sales view, and you always have to deal with these two views and find a solution. That's always the thing with democracy. So this was the main problem, and we faced it several times. Again, when launching a new product, you have to deal with whether do it more customized or do it better, but
with a higher margin. So we faced this problem some more times.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. So this was a golden example for all of us to really understand the point I was trying to make. So I really thank you for sharing this personal example. So I hope all of us could reflect on what Sebastian explained us very nicely. He's talking about these dilemmas, especially he's talking about new product development, launching, and there are different levels of people who you have to report, and the tussle which can go on, and not having the clarity and those type of things. So this is very common in international trade, especially when there is some confusion about the structure and so on, and this happens with good companies also. So for example, Bosch is a wonderful company, and we are not trying to say anything against the company. The company is very good, excellent company. But these things are there in good companies, uh, because bad companies would not just survive international trade. Bad companies would just go out of the business. So all the companies which are in the business, they are good in some way. That is why they are in the business. Otherwise, they would have gone out. So these good companies like that, even there, these type of issues can happen. So please reflect on this example of which Sebastian gave us, and try to reflect with your in your own time, that how would you deal with these type of dilemmas if you are in the reporting position. How you are going to report it, what suggestions you would give to improve the process, structural process, organizational process, and so on. How you will convince your boss, because your boss will have his own style, his own understanding of doing things. So how will you deal with this? These are some real issues which you have to deal under international business, under international trade. uh, Thanks for this. I think someone's mic is turned on, so please mute your mic if that is the case. uh, Next thing we want to briefly touch on, and we have already spoken about it in various discussions. So I want you to pick it up and make connections in your own time. Of course, exporting, importing, counter trade. Yeah, so basically, essentially, international trade is about, someone is importing something, someone is exporting something. So uh, we have been talking about it throughout the session, but I have given you some readings here, some slides here, some things you can quickly go through in your own time. When exporting is feasible, when it is not feasible, what are the different import strategies companies use, what are some of the export strategies they use. I think there is a little case also, some examples also you can think about. This example I liked about Häagen-Dazs. I'm sure there are better ice cream manufacturers in Europe. Many those countries are known for the wonderful ice cream they make, but Häagen-Dazs is also, in terms of international business, they are quite big a company. And you can look at this small clip uh, about how Häagen-Dazs got started. What are the Someone's mic is on. Please mute your mic. We are, if possible, please. Yeah. So okay, yes, better. Yeah. So Häagen-Dazs is one company you can maybe think about Häagen-Dazs. Uh, but that is the company I like, so I gave you this example. But you can have your own examples and essentially see how these companies which become successful in international trade, what are the things they do, how are they able to accomplish this big achievement to go in international trade and be successful, and all those type of things. I think that is what my purpose was, to share this example with you. Any concluding remarks, any concluding thoughts you guys would want to share at this moment? Please go ahead. Anything you want to say about today's session? Any final comments, if there are any? If there are no comments, that is fine too. So thanks very much for participating in today's discussion. With that, I'm concluding our formal engagement for today's session. Thanks.
Can I ask you